Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. Today is Wealth Wednesday, October 14th. I am happy to be here with you today. Just a couple of quick announcements, and we've got a great training today, a great trainer with us. Our quote of the day is use your strength, your passion, and your dedication to reach every single one of your goals. Some dates to take note of. If you haven't already, mark your calendar for our regional event. It's going to be 2 days of phenomenal training, October 23rd and 24th. One day will be with a more localized training with our region, and the other day will be a full day of training with some national leaders. And so I mentioned already 2 days of full day training. You'll want to absolutely clear those days out if you need to, so that you can be fully present with us. We're doing an online regionals, of course, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of great information will be shared. We also have our national dates for National Conference 2021, March 18th through the 20th. We will be meeting online for our national conference. The theme for next year is Shifting Higher into Focused Transformation. So mark those dates on your calendar, clear those days out if you need to, and looking forward to our national conference. We also have our leadership retreat dates, August 13th through the 17th, 2021. We're going to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Make sure you check out the website that Michael and his team have put together. There's just a short informative video on there. It's about 6 minutes, and it talks about the OES, what it is and what comes with it. It stands for optional event subscription. So check out the website oes.com. We've added some more. Anyone new to the call, we've added some more support to our daily and weekly system, which I'm absolutely loving. These extra classes have been a lot of fun, and I'm just so grateful for all the support that our team provides. Being out here in Phoenix, it's really nice to be able to plug in with Michael and everybody. So every Thursday, Daine Clark is hosting and facilitating a private capital masterclass, and that happens 1 hour before the rest of our events on Thursday night. So 6 p.m. Mountain Time with Daine Clark. We spend about an hour talking about what we're learning from the private and hard money classes, and Daine has been applying what he learned from those classes and has been very successful with it. And so that's been a lot of fun. Make sure you're watching your classes and come check out the Private Capital Masterclass on Thursday. And then every day after our morning marketing call, we have a 30-minute dream call. DREAM stands for Daily Real Estate Action Mastermind. So from 9 a.m. to 9:30, we are masterminding and bringing up questions about any deals that we have that we're coming across. Any questions at all regarding real estate investing, bring them to this mastermind. It's been a lot of fun. And also every day, Monday through Friday at noon Mountain Time, Scott Rowe and Michael Huggins have put together a really brief 15-minute get to know you call where they interview 1 or 2 people who have had some great success with Renatus. And the whole idea of this is to bring your guests. It's just a short and sweet exposure for them, but very powerful exposure. And every Wednesday, as you know, we are doing a fix and flip house tour. Last week we toured Tim's home, and the purchase price was $330,000, rehab $60,000, and the ARV is going to be around $495,000. The projected net profit is $50,000 in just a short 5 to 6 months, and Tim used none of his own money or credit on the deal. So congratulations, Tim. Feel free to take a screenshot of the screen if you'd like. These are our weekly reoccurring events. Yesterday we had our profits intro at 12:30. Today we are having a house tour in English at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So there's our slide for the profits intro at 12:30, house tour in English at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure you register in Helios as well as visit the Team Elevate. I mentioned earlier we have a lot of events going on every Thursday. Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we have everything here listed happening all at 7 o'clock. So you can kind of pick and choose which fits your goals the best. We have a house tour in Spanish, Pillars of Wealth, intro presentation. We have a follow-up and funding webinar, an onboarding session, also an essentials mastermind in both English and Spanish. We have a business development mastermind, as well as multiple real estate study groups, fix and flip, wholesaling, multifamily, and short-term rental. So if you're studying any of those, plug into those study groups, and also tell your guest about the study groups. We do record these morning calls. We can be found on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Renata's Team Elevate on Facebook. You'll find that we have these lives there, and you can watch the recording as soon as the video is up. So that recording is always there and available for you, as well as on that page, there's lots of important announcements. And then you'll want to also subscribe to the Elevate Renata's YouTube channel. There's a lot of value on that channel, a lot of these, at least 5 years of these recordings. So much value to take advantage of. Today, we get to learn from Daine Clark. As I mentioned before, Daine is leading our mastermind on private and hard money lending. And so he has, over his, I think, about 4 years of experience with Renata's, he has been able to really build a powerful business for himself using what he's learned from our education. Daine, before Renata's, was working 2 jobs. He was working for both Apple as well as a roofer. At Apple, he was actually kind of shy. He was in the back, not out on the floor talking to customers. He was in the back counting cell phones. And his mother is what you would call very shy. And as a roofer, he was a roofer because that's what his dad did. So that's kind of how he fell into that. And at the time, he was not making ends meet, and he really knew that he needed to make a change. So he started looking for other income opportunities, and he found Renata's. He watched his classes, plugged into the system, listened to his mentors, and started to apply what he was learning. He applied velocity banking to pay down debt, and then used that as leverage and positioned himself to get into a duplex where he lived in one side and rented out the other. Very smart strategy to start out with. Fast forward to today, Daine has raised over 14 million, but I'm pretty sure it's more than that now. And his secret to that is consistency and frequency. So this is funds that he has raised from different individuals to go towards different transactions, real estate deals. He has grown his team. He is a PIT team member, meaning he's in training to be on the PAC, the President's Advisory Council. And Bob Snyder, our CEO, recognizes Daine as a key leader. And we're very, very fortunate to get to learn from Daine this morning. So make sure you take notes. Good morning, Daine. How are you?
Good morning, Keely. Good morning, Renata's Nation. Thank you so much, Keely. And you're right. I'm closing in on 16 million. Really, really close. Less than 100,000 away, but we'll keep it in increments. So we'll say 15 million. But yeah, good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here. As always, I look forward to Wednesdays. Like this is one of my favorite days because I get up earlier than any other day on Wednesday for you guys, and I get to come and help somebody, and it's so much fun. So let's do this, right? You guys know the drill. Go ahead and tell me. I want to know how hard you're working, right? The only way I know how hard somebody's working is when I can have them answer the question, how many people did you talk to in the last 7 days, right? Thanks to Merritt. No, you're working hard, buddy. So how many people did you talk to in the last 7 days? And what is included in that? And I'll share with you guys how I track it, but how many conversations are you having? How many people did you get to an intro? How many people did you get to a follow-up, to a one-on-one, right? That's the only thing I track these days, because I know if everything else is working, then I'm doing plenty of one-on-ones. How many people did you get to the intensive this last weekend? In fact, we had a lot of stuff. Bob Snyder was this weekend. Eric Counts was this weekend, and Heather Herring stopped counting at over 800 deals. And did anybody ask her, like, this is one of the things I want to know, well, when did you stop counting? How many years ago did you stop counting? because I want to know when she hits the 1,000 mark. But I wonder, maybe she's already hit it, I'm guessing. But yeah, stopped counting at 800 deals. That's amazing. And she was able to share with us this weekend. A lot of people were very, very bestowed upon, if you will, educated. And yeah, so how many people? I've got a bunch of people chatting in the comments. I even track my goose eggs. If I had a goose egg. Now, I will say this. I'm not sure how many years it's been since I really, really started kicking it off, but I would dare guess that it's probably been 4 years since I have at least had one real estate conversation every single week. I would dare guess 4 years, but I have not gone an entire week without having some form of a real estate investing conversation. 4 years. It becomes, in fact, I was just talking to an ICM, was it yesterday or maybe it was last week, but he's like, dude, this is like becoming a lifestyle. I just like talk about real estate with everybody I meet. People at work, people that I see at the gas station, people I get in an elevator with. Well, you don't do that now because social distancing, but you guys get what I mean. Like this just becomes a lifestyle where everyone you meet, you just start talking about investing in real estate and business, and like it becomes a lifestyle. So what I track is my one-on-ones, and if I have a goose egg, if I don't do one-on-one within a week, I report it, because I got to stay honest to myself so that people can see and want to do business with somebody who is honest with themselves. So let's go ahead and give some love. And oh man, I got to scroll way up. Lots of people. So Doug had 2. Congratulations, brother. Pete, have they sent the promo code for regionals registration? Ooh, does anybody know where to find regionals registration? Please post in the comments. I'm gonna guess Facebook, but yeah, please do. If somebody will post in the comment, if there's like a special link that we can just go. I'm guessing Renata's probably put it on the calendar. But yeah, Esther had 3. Umair, not hard enough, brother. No, Umair is a hard worker, so that's humbling to see Umair say that he wants to work harder. Jenna had 2 follow-ups. Great job. Sandra had 5. Charles had 1. Keely, Mr. Martinez, images of, cool. Thank you, Keely. Gilda, 6. Great job. Lorene had 1. Keely had 4. David McIntyre had 8 commitments, 2 shows, 1 follow-up. Great job. Kim had 4. Alvin had 2 101s, 3 follow-ups, 3 follow-up Q&A. Let's see, LaShawn, 21 registered for the intensive, 8 attended, 2 follow-ups, 2 velocity banking, 2 101s, scheduled today for a 3-way call. Great job. Anne had 1. Wanda said, oh, thank you, Wanda. Thank you. Pete, just about everyone I meet. Now, most people don't know who Pete Smalley is. Maybe they do. Everybody needs to know who Pete Smalley is, though. But Pete is one of those guys, and I hope Pete's okay that I pick on him a little bit, but Pete is one of those guys that when you first meet him, you're not going to be like, man, you're a successful real estate investor, right? And even if he starts talking about real estate investing, most people are not going to take him as like, oh man, like you just look like a, no, Pete's a normal guy, right? And I love Pete, and I'm guessing he's a grandfather, maybe. Maybe I shouldn't make those assumptions, but yeah, when the cool thing about this is Pete is part of the same education as all of us. And when he opens his mouth is when people tilt their heads and they're like, wait a second, what did you say, Pete? Like I have seen people that Pete Smalley is talking to that are just like, dude, I need this. Like, oh, you're welcome, Pete. You deserve this, right? Where people are just like, dude, whatever you're talking about, Mr. Smalley, I need that. There are people in our community. Pete has had 5-figure months just because and forgive me if this is offensive, but because Pete won't shut up about real estate investing. He just talks about it, and people are just like, whoa, 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 where do you get this stuff, Pete? And Pete's like, oh, well, I get it at the event. You want to come to the event with me? And he brings people down, and people have bought combos. They've bought essentials. Pete has found real estate deals. And again, when you meet Pete, you'd be like, this guy is successful in real estate? He's just an ordinary fella. And just love him to death. Absolutely love him to death. But he's got it down. Never miss a beat, never miss a week without having a conversation about real estate investing. Ever. I try to not miss a day. But maybe I talk too much. Pete Smalley brought Nate Lambert into Renatus. Can you believe that? I knew that, and I'm sorry, Pete, I forgot. Pete Smalley brought Nate Lambert into Renatus. And Pete was not yet 5-star. And that was back in the day when the roll-ups happened. And so Nate Lambert rolled to Mr. Michael Hagen. Amazing. All right. Congratulations, Pete. So conversations. All right. Next, I want to help somebody because I can tell how hard you're working. If you go out and you have a conversation with somebody and somebody says something or something happens or you are trying and then all of a sudden you're just like, bam, deer in the headlights situation. What do I say here? What do I do here? I want to help that person. You know who you are, right? I want to help somebody. And everybody's going to be grateful, whoever comes out. Again, you know who you are, just interrupt me because I'll keep talking because we got to protect us from all the awkward silences, right? So who's it going to be? All right, who do we got today? Who's going to come out and share a story with us? Share a story about a conversation you had or an experience you had. Who's got a deer in the headlights moment where they're just like, what do I do next? Please help me. And if we got nobody, then I'll share. So, all right, who do we have? Is it Esther? Let's see.
Yes.
Esther.
Can you hear me, Daine?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're a little bit, how do I say that? It's cutting out just a little bit, so we'll see. We'll see how we go here, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I have a guest that I've been following up with for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
She's come to house tours and Thursday nights, and she was going to actually join Eric's funding webinar, but didn't make it to that, and then came to the intensive. And when I followed up with her, I said, so what do you think? Are we, ready to get started? And she said, no, I'd rather spend that money investing in myself. I said, what does that mean? And then she's ghosted me since Saturday. So I don't know how to pick up that conversation again.
That's a tough one. So in my experience, when somebody says something like that, like she's got some stories, right? There's some kind of a story in her mind as to why Renatus would not be investing in herself, because you and I and everybody else on this call, we know dang well that Renatus is investing in ourselves. Like Keely said, I was so shy that my wife had to come up to me and say, are you ever going to freaking ask me for my number or what? And here I am, like, and I love speaking to people now. Like, I owe that to Renatus, right? So, and of course all the real estate and whatever. But so yeah, everybody knows dang well that Renatus would be considered investing in themselves. And so there's some kind of story. Let's give this gal a name. What's her name? Even if you protect
Jennifer
her Jennifer. So so at the end of the day, Jennifer says, I would rather invest in myself. And so it's hard. That's a tough one because we don't know what the story is, and she won't talk to you. She won't respond. And so I would do something like this. And I can go to I'm very visual. So if I need to go to the whiteboard, or I guess the blackboard now, then I can. But I would say something like this, formulate a text message or give her a call again. In fact, typically I like to do it this way. I like to call first, because if they answer, I want them to feel my emotion. I want them to feel my caring for them. I mean, much like what you might feel right now as I'm helping Esther, right? I want them to feel that, man, I care about Esther, right? I'm going to hone in on her situation and hear her story, right? And so you want to do the same thing for Jennifer, right? Jennifer, right? Did I already forget it? Dozer. So call her first. If she does not answer, then you jump on and you start a text message, and you say something like this, like, hey, Jennifer, I haven't caught you for a little bit. Let me say this way. Hey, Jennifer, I've reached out a couple of times and I haven't caught you. Sometimes when this happens, it's because I need to apologize for something, right? This catches their attention really, really well. Sometimes when this happens, I need to apologize for something. And I'm actually not sure if anything did happen that I need to apologize for, but am I safe to assume, I like saying it that way, am I safe to assume that that's what's going on here, is that somehow, somewhere, I need to apologize for either something that somebody said or something that somebody did, or maybe that I said or that I did. You don't have to make it too long, but nice, sweet, short and sweet. Oftentimes when this happens, I need to apologize. And am I safe to assume that that's what's going on here, or that that's the case here? Oftentimes they'll respond. They'll at least respond, and they'll give you the dignity of having some closure. But if you can strike up another conversation with this person, then maybe you can save it by hearing their story. And then as soon as you hear their story, then you can relate it to another person's story. You can be like, oh my gosh, like, I am so sorry, or like, hey, I apologize that I didn't cover that aspect. I didn't know you were looking for that. And so I was introducing you to people inside of our organization this way, but in reality, I should have, and then you just bring her back in and try to connect her to the right people. Because I'm not sure who just said this, but maybe her drive is a certain something, and so she needs to connect to proof or people or systems or whatever that she wasn't able to connect to in all the things that she's been to so far. I mean, because she came to the intensive. And that was valuable, and especially that she got to see a power woman, Heather, drop it down and share with everybody. So yeah, I'd do something like that. So I think I need to apologize. Am I safe to assume that that's the case here? Try to start up that conversation again. And let's see, today Juno speaking might be a good thing to share with her. Cool. Yeah, people have some good comments here. But yeah, try that. Now I will say that when that happens, oftentimes they've already made a decision in their mind. And so I can't remember what the phrase is, but somebody convinced against their will is of the same opinion still, I think is what the phrase goes. Like, you can probably convince her, but her mind is still going to be kind of made up. Now, I'm going to say that, and just because I reached out to somebody like this and I did the apology thing and I started up another conversation, I got them to another event and did another one-on-one, I still had somebody buy a combo from me who referred more people, and they got their combos from him, right? And so it's worth at least trying to save that. But if not, then make sure that you get the closure to say, you know what, you're not ready. And I love saying it this way because rejection sucks, right? We don't get rejected here. They're just not ready. And so you can tell yourself like, cool, I'm going to put you in a box where is my not ready box. And I'm going to go find somebody who is ready. Because we've all heard those stories. We've all heard the people that are like, oh my gosh, like where has this been? Where was Renatus 10 years ago? Where was Renatus 15, 20? Like if, in my own case, had I met Renatus, well, actually, you know what? I think I needed to go through some of those learning experiences because I had a lot of growing up to do. I was young when I bought Renatus. But for a lot of people, they're like, man, had I bought Renatus years ago, I would have done stuff a lot differently. So make sure that you're not spending too much time with Jennifer. Offer to try and bring her back, but make sure that you are looking for those people that are like, man, Esther, I am so glad that you reached out to me, that I met you, right? In fact, I love, you guys are going to hear a little bit about this at regionals, but I love saying that or asking that question. Like, hey, in a year from now, what has to happen so that you like get emotional and say the phrase to me like, Daine, I am so glad we met. Like, what would have to happen to make you emotional when you said that phrase to me? Man, I'm glad we met. I love that question. I get some interesting answers to that question, right? But so hope that helps. But yeah. So all right, let me check all these comments. For sure, there was a year ago. Where was this years ago? Yeah, she's probably making excuses, contacting people, months. Yeah, self-education, yada yada. So okay, remember Michael's stalker? She got in 5 years after he invited her. Who is that? Michael's stalker. She got in 5 years after he invited her.
I think he's talking
I'm not sure
about
who you're talking
me,
about, Pete.
but
Is that you, Keely?
I'm the 5-year follow-up, but I don't know about stalker.
Yeah. You just got labeled. No, I'm just kidding. No. In fact, I remember that story. I remember when Michael first told me, he's like, dude, you got to meet this Keely gal. She just joined down in Arizona, and I invited her something 5 years ago. And she's, and in fact, Keely, do you want to tell the story? Because I actually have never heard this.
I'd be happy to.
Cool.
So my significant other, Casey, and Michael went to school together, best friends in high school. And so Michael actually talked to Casey about Renatus several times about 5 years ago, at this point now it's 9 years ago, because I've been in Renatus for 4 years now, so 5 years before. And just timing wasn't right for us. Both of us were comfortable with our jobs, and we just had no idea what we were missing, had no idea. And so just as the years went on, we saw Michael's success and then started to like, oh, what are you doing over there, Michael? So it just took us a while to be in the right place to see what was really going on.
And what was, like, when, I love asking this question to a lot of people, but do you remember the moment where you're like, I'm doing Renatus? Like, we're doing this. Yep, I'm doing Renatus. Do you remember that moment where you were, what you saw, what you were seeing, who you were with?
It was a wild exposure because Vanessa had set up she got a big Airbnb in Las Vegas, and some of the Renatus team down here in Phoenix, who I had no idea who these ladies were. Vanessa had a group of girls from Phoenix meeting her in Vegas, as well as a group of girls from Salt Lake City going to Vegas, and they were going to this big Eric Worre women's network marketing event. I was in doTERRA at the time with essential oils. And so Vanessa invited me saying, this is a network marketing event, but she plugged me in with a group of like 10 Renatus girls, and I stayed with them in a house in Vegas. So I was like, what the heck are you girls doing? This is amazing. So that was when I was like, I'm in, I'm signing up.
Wow.
Screw
So
doTERRA.
just be, so, and nobody was even selling you anything. Nobody was even, you were just like, yeah, these are my people. Michael, how much does NOS cost again? and then you bought. That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. And I mean, we could go to every single person on this call and we could do the same thing. In fact, maybe that's one of the things that we should do. It'd be valuable. It'd be valuable for people to see it when the switch flips and you're just like, I'm doing this. Right. Those are the moments we're trying to create for, in Esther's case, Jennifer. Right. What does Jennifer need to experience where the switch flips, where she's like, holy cow, I am going to get my self-investment here with these systems, these people, whatever their drive is, this proof. Right. So, all right, I'm going to share something. Let me go to my Blackboard. Oh, I got to share my screen first. Share screen. God, it's so tough to be preparing a regionals speech, because that's like all I've been thinking about. And then I come on these and I'm just like, no, I can't share that. Oh my gosh, I don't want to give it away. So I'm having a tough time. All right, let's do this. So let me think. You know what? I haven't talked about this in a minute. And I am going to share, man, it's crazy. This is hard. I'm struggling, guys, because I really want everybody to come and I want to deliver in this regionals. I'm super stoked. So let's do this. All right, back to the conversations. Okay. Now, and we all know about the drive. And so we know how people are going to connect to the information. But at the end of the day, or at the end of this day, sure, that's fine. So at the end of the day, we want to know how their drive is going to connect to real estate investing, right? Every single person has their relationship to real estate. And I could, oh my goodness, I could go story after story after story after story, and even people on this call, story after story, where we started a conversation, right? You have your start of that conversation, and you just find a way to sneak in saying the phrase real estate investing, right? Usually the way I do this is when I meet somebody. In fact, here, let me tell some real stories here. So I met, and they might even be on this, actually, I don't think they're on this call because they just joined and they are not yet ICMs. I prefer to introduce the ICM experience after they have been inspired by their education and the experiences that they're having that way. To me, as soon as somebody becomes inspired because of what's inside of Renatus, is the perfect time to be like, hey, did you know that you can make money by talking about real estate investing and finding certain people? Oh, am I not sharing my screen yet?
No.
Share screen. Oh, I forgot to hit the start button. All right, cool. Now you can see it. Back to this. All right. So we have the conversation starter. I was talking about, Tyrell. So the Parkinson's. So the way that I had the conversation starter with them was actually had nothing to do with real estate. And so with these guys, I got invited to share a little bit about basically like do it like a TED Talk. But I actually posted this on Facebook as well. And so between the two was how I got connected to these guys. But basically, I just started talking about systems, right? You guys heard me a couple of weeks ago talk about how I am a huge believer that systems, I'm writing systems again. Systems inside the home directly correlate to systems in your profession. And so if you have anything inside of your home, because again, within the walls of your own home, within the walls of your own mind, think about that one for just a minute. Within the walls of your home, within the walls of your mind, the relationships that you have inside of these walls, the relationships you have with yourself, the relationships you have within your home, the people you live with, the people that you sleep next to, whoever. If you have, and if you become system-minded, system-oriented inside of the home, and I don't care what drive you are, because at the end of the day, a system stands for saves you stress, time, energy, money, okay? System saves you stress, time, energy, money. I don't care what drive you are, you need that in your life, okay? And so when you do that, you directly correlates or spills over into your professional life, aka your job, aka your Renatus business, aka your real estate business. I don't care. And so that's all I was talking about, was how myself and my wife, and I got to take a picture of this because I get so many people asking me, like, Daine, how do you actually do it? But all I did was share that system of how my wife and I have had a model status kitchen for the 2 years running, because we developed a system and we said, all right, here's the system, here's the template, everybody follows it. And if they don't, then here's the consequences, right? In fact, my wife and I are even just talking about this because my kids are 0 years old, 2 years old, and 4 years old, and so they don't know. And so we're putting these little systems together, just train them. Like, hey guys, here's the system. Because I hate dishes. I absolutely hate dirty dishes in the sink, on the counter, on the tables, in the dishwasher even. I hate it, right? So so we devised the system to do that. And so that's actually how I was able to bring the conversation back with the Parkinsons to real estate investing. Because I talked about that, and then I said, because my profession is real estate investing. And so I talked about that, and I was like, yeah, and this is how it correlates to what I do in real estate. And he's like, whoa, let me stop you right there. Like, yeah, Daine, I don't like dishes either, but what did you just say? Investing in real estate? And I was like, yeah. And so, bam, conversation about real estate investing was born. That's how you do it. You just say it. I don't care what you figure out so many creative ways to do that. And here's the coolest part about this. You don't even have to think of creative ways. Just say the words. Okay? Now, here's what happens. And this is how you're going to make people feel like you really want to help them and that they're not just a paycheck, right? Nobody wants to feel like a paycheck. And so what I like to do is when I start talking about this real estate investing conversation, I give them a spectrum. Right. And so here, I'm going to share some of this stuff at News. I'm going to give this to you guys. You guys are coming to regionals. So if you hear it again, then just be like, yeah, act like it was the first time. Okay. So real estate investing, there's a spectrum between passive and active. Okay. So you've got the passive, you got the active, and there's a very wide passive active. There's a very wide spectrum in this because there's so many different ways to make money in real estate. It's almost overwhelming, okay? And so I'm just guiding them down this path of, cool, where do you feel like you are? And I'll give them a couple examples. Like, hey, this is like the ultimate passive is like being a bank. The ultimate active is like the move-in guy that you're flipping houses and you do all the work, right? The crazy active. And so there's all these things in between. And so where do you feel like you fall? And so at the end of the day, I feel like there are these 4 boxes. And so as I'm having the conversation, because you is it news to everybody if I say that every time you're having a conversation with somebody, there's actually 3 conversations going on, right? And so here, let me draw this. So every time there is a conversation going on with 2 people and they're talking, there's a conversation that's going on in this person's mind and there's a conversation going on in this person's mind. Okay, and so every time there's a conversation happening, there's 3 conversations, kind of like right now, like the stuff that's going on in the back of my head, the stuff that's going on in the back of all you guys' head, and the words that I'm actually saying, right? So that happens to everybody. And so at the end of the day, I want to start helping them steer their conversation inside their head. And the only way to do that is by asking questions. So you steer their conversation inside of their head to these, to landing something like this. And so ultimately, I want to find out, are they passive, or in somewhere in that category, are they active, and somewhere in that category? Okay. And so, and we could go a lot deeper. I mean, we could probably spend a whole day on just this conversation and just this conversation and so on and so forth, and this conversation, but whatever. But at the end of the day, in your mind, you're having that conversation, and as they are sharing what they tell you, and your conversation inside of your head is like, all right, I love you. Literally, you should tell every single person in this world that you love them, even the people that despise you or hate on you, or you should tell every single human being, I love you, I want to serve you, and I'm going to find a way that I can serve you that makes you happy and makes me happy. Right? Every single person that I meet, I'm asking myself, or I'm telling myself, I love you, and how am I going to figure out how to serve you today? And so that conversation begins like, okay, Jennifer, let's just use some of the names that we talked about today. All right, Jennifer, how am I going to help you? And so by asking some of those questions, like, all right, Jennifer, like, where you feel like you are, like, because maybe she's over here. Maybe she is over here, and she just doesn't realize it. And so that conversation for me starts steering like, all right, where do you want to be? Okay, these people can still buy Renatus. These key people can still buy Renatus, but some people are in a situation where maybe they have a property or maybe they don't, and there's some kind of underlying problem. If they have an underlying problem without a property, then yeah, like the best way we can help them is within the walls of their own mind. But if they have an underlying problem with a property, then we can help them. Because oftentimes if somebody has an underlying problem and a property, the property is like gasoline, pouring gasoline on that fire that ultimately is the problem. Okay? And so if they can get rid of the property, then they can say the phrase like the gentleman that I bought his house a little while ago at $98,000 below the appraisal. We had an appraisal, $98,000 below appraised value, and he looked me in the eye, and he says, Daine, I want to thank you. Here we are at the title company, signing documents, and it was interesting because most people, when you buy a house, the buyer will come in and sign on their own schedule. The seller will come in and sign on their own schedule, and they never meet. But this guy was like, "Hey, when are you signing? I want to sign the same time you do, so that we can actually shake hands." And so I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so literally, he looks me in the eye, and he shakes my hand, and he says, "Daine, I want to thank you for doing this." Okay, so at the end of it, and I bought his property at a $98,000 discount, because at the end of the day, I say to him, the conversation that's going in my mind, how I love you, how can I help you? I am going to find that. I'm going to find how I can help you today. Okay, so as you have those conversations, and in your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, this person is this person is this person is this, or the last one is the not interested. It is okay. Or like we talked about with Jennifer, the not ready.
Daine, can I give you an example?
Yeah, who is this?
Sorry, it's Tamara.
Tamara, what's up? I thought I recognized that voice, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have this prospect. He's been super enthusiastic, excited. He owns a hotel. He owns a large chain of Dunkin' Donuts. but he's not, he's pretty successful, but he's not generating the cash flow, excuse me, that he wants to be, which is not giving him the lifestyle that he wants as a director or the time freedom. So he's been super enthusiastic. I did a one-on-one for him on Monday, and he was on board, and then all of a sudden he decided it's too good to be true. So I texted him because yesterday he was deciding between the epic and the extreme. And then all of a sudden I said, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you? And he said 4. And I was like, well, what is it that's holding you back? And he just said, it's too good to be true. He's still responsive, but I'm trying to get him back on board. I told him, the last text I sent him was, why don't you, I want to challenge you to take up the 7-day right of rescission and take one of the classes during that 7 days if you think it's too good to be true, so you can see for yourself. And he hasn't. He said he had a blackout last night. So I'm just curious how you would handle it from here.
So to me, sounds like he is right here. He is in the active for sure, because he owns all these businesses and he's got the hotel and he's not getting what he wants, and he's working, right? But I think what he wants is to be maybe somewhere in here, to where money still comes in, but he doesn't have to work as hard, right? Tell me if I'm if I'm on track here with what I'm hearing you say.
For sure. He even said it. He said real estate's the way to go when I was doing the one-on-one with him. So yes.
Cool. And so ultimately that's what I'm hearing. And so at the end of the day, I look at, at the end of the day, it's probably going to be his drive. But if this is where you feel like he fits, tell him that. As you share with him, you might, and talk about the spectrum and be like, you know what, in the spectrum, I feel like there's these people over here, there's these people over here, and I think you're going to feel most comfortable right here. Am I right? And try to get him to be like, yeah, that's what I want, and say, cool. And so at that point, you can kind of hit the drive. You can say, cool. So here's what I want to do. I want to share with you knowledge. So basically the currencies, okay? Knowledge, which hits certain drive aspects. I want to share with you relationships. That's going to hit certain drive aspects, and credibility, the proof. Credibility. This is so, and thank you, Tamara, for bringing this up. Because now we're real life, right? This is real life application in this theory, if you will. Okay, so share with them. Be like, cool. If you feel like you're here, now I know how to help you better. Because at the end of the day, you need to see how it works. You need to see other people working it, and you need to see the proof that ultimately this credibility, the people that are actually doing what you want to do. And I actually sold a combo about a month ago by literally off of this one. Like, hey, if you join, I got people that I want you to meet. And they were just other Renata students, but he didn't know that. Because I know the value of other Renata students that are actually doing the thing that person wanted to do. And so I said, tell you what, if you join, you're going to get access to classes, and I'm going to have you go through a bunch of stuff, right? And so Tamara already mentioned this one. I want you to try this. And then you can say, hey, if you do the right of rescission thing, then I want to introduce you to specific people, specific relationships that are also going to generate that credibility. And so I would do something like that. Now, if he's not responding, then maybe go with what we talked about earlier. Like, hey, I feel like I need to apologize. Don't confuse, please don't confuse my excitement for this as being pushy, because I've seen this work time and time again. And so I am going to be excited for you to take part in this, because I've seen it happen. I've heard the stories, right? You know, you can say stuff like this because it's true. And so for him, I would say something like that. Like, knowledge is going to help, but if he feels like it's too good to be true, I'm not sure if it's quite going to be knowledge. He needs to see somebody else actually doing it, actually having some success. He needs some proof. And so I'd say, you know, as you get to know what he really wants, because again, you know, in this space, it can be, you know, fix and flips, or, you know, instead of getting a hotel, you get an apartment complex, or, you know, maybe you start your own bank, or the, you know, whatever, right? There can be a lot of things. But at the end of the day, it's funny because I feel like with most people, I know exactly what to say, but that's the problem. They don't need to hear it, or they can't hear it from me. They need to hear it from somebody else. And so Tamara, I would say something like that. Re-engage the conversation, use the apology method if you have to, and just say, and ask him questions, get him to tell you, you know, a little bit about this spectrum thing, passive to active, and then just say, oh my gosh, right? Back to this. And you start a conversation and they say some things, and you're like, oh my gosh, real estate investing. Do the same thing, same excitement. When he tells you anything, the first person that pops up in your mind as a relationship that you can share with him, be like, tell you what, if you are okay doing the test drive, write a rescission, then I want to connect you to this person, and drop a real name, right? People love that. I got a guy named, or I got a gal named, and tell them. And so, and make it contingent though. Be like, yeah, if you, then I. So given that, if you do the test drive, then I want to have you go through this specific class, and pick a class. I do that all the time. Be like, yeah, when you get started, the first class I want you to watch is velocity banking. The first class I want you to watch is, and I'll even skip around to whatever really hits what they want, and be like, yeah, the first class I want you to watch is the fix and flip, or the IRA class, you know, whatever. Give him that aspect, but then give him this aspect too. Be like, cool, I have somebody I want you to meet. I mean, you could even get him connected with Gavin McCaleb himself, as long as he gets his extreme, at least his extreme. But be like, hey, do this. Like, tell you what, you know, less money out of pocket. Put $4,000 down, and we'll do the test drive. And inside of that, I will have you. And I love giving people lists. Be like, okay, so if you do this, 4,000 down, I can unlock education. I'm going to have you watch this class, and I'm going to get you a one-on-one with Gavin McCaleb himself. He is my real estate coach, and I want you to meet him. This dude has done hundreds of deals, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of real estate transactions at this point, and he will actually be your own real estate coach. I guarantee he's done anything you want to do in real estate investing. And so it hits both of those things, the knowledge and the relationships and the credibility, right? Sell that, as long as it's in the test drive. If you want to do the test drive, then I will do this. And I've like beat that one to death. So hopefully that helps, Tamara. And I guarantee there's a lot more people on this call that needed to hear that. But yeah, tell me if you like that.
Well, yeah, I do. I'm going to definitely try the $4,000 down, and then get him in front of two people. I didn't think of Gavin, so I'll do Gavin, and then there's someone else that I've been edifying. Once he thought it was too good to be true, he was like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone, but he's still talking to me. So I'm going to put this proposition out there to him, and I think he's going to go. I don't know. I have a good feeling he'll go for it.
Cool. And he'll feel your emotion when you have the conversation in your head that you're like, what's this guy's name?
Sonny.
Where in the conversation that happens inside your head is, Sonny, I love you. Obviously not romantically, but a know, if you're a Christian, then Christ-like love, or if you're if you're not, then I don't know, a universal love. And so, Sonny, I love you, and I'm going to figure out a way to help you. And oh my gosh, he will feel it. When that's the conversation inside of your head while you're having a conversation with him, he's going to feel it through your conversation. You don't even have to say anything. He'll feel it. And so have that conversation in your head, and then have this conversation with your mouth. And if he goes for it, then great. And pick those couple of people and pick a specific class. You know, again, get specific. Pick a specific class and be like, I will have you go through this class first, and we'll see if it's a good fit for you. So cool. And my apologies, guys, but I'm buying another house today, and my bank is calling, and I gotta send another wire, so I gotta take this. But stay classy, and I will see you all next week or at the Money Mastermind on Thursday.
Thanks, Daine. Everybody, we'll see you on the Real Estate Mastermind.